Hi, this is Isaiah Reports Football, and this is my match day one predictions. So let's begin. Starting off with the opening game of the World Cup, between Mexico and South Africa. I predict it to be a 2-0 Mexico win. And I believe this would be the case because I believe this would be the case because of Mexico's strong defense and also South Africa's very weak attack in recent form, like in recent games. South Africa's attack hasn't been that strong. So yeah. Next game is between South Korea versus Czech Republic. I predict it will be a 2-1 win for the Czech Republic because um they could score from set pieces. They also have good attackers such as Patrick Schick and Such, who plays for Leon, and um, compared to South Korea, they only have Lee King in, and their manager doesn't really have a tactical idea for them. Canada versus Bosnia, the third game. I'll be predicting a 1-1 draw between Canada and Bosnia because Canada will be missing Davies, and I think that will be a big miss for them. I'm pretty sure he's not going to play that game, this opening game for Canada. Um, and if I'm correct with that statement, then Davis, he's really good at crossing and stuff like that, and Canada will miss those crosses, his crosses. Um, while Bosnia, they have good strikers like Demirovic, even though one of their strikers, Tabakovic, has been on better form for them, is injured. They have Jacko. They have an also other playmaker for them, or named Memic, and they also have an American-born player who's very young and plays for PSV. We'll see if he starts for them as well throughout this tournament. But yeah, so it's gonna be 1-1 between Canada and Bosnia. Fourth game is my United States against Paraguay. I believe we're gonna win 2-0, in my opinion, because Paraguay is missing Enciso for this game, and I feel like we're not perfect as a United States fan. I'll admit it, we're not perfect, but I think we have the quality to edge out Paraguay, and luckily for us, again, Paraguay's missing their best attacker Enciso, so yeah. Fifth game, Qatar versus Switzerland. I'm not really going to go with in-depth explanation. It's going to be a 4-0 win for Switzerland. And yeah, I mean, Switzerland just has way too much quality against Qatar, who's like arguably the worst country, the worst team in this tournament, you could say. So yeah. Uh, Sixth game is uh the sixth game is Brazil versus Morocco. I'm going to, I believe, hopefully, maybe this can be maybe unique result, but I say it's going to be a 3-2 win for Morocco. Because um Morocco has very talented players in their attack, like Brahim Diaz and so on. Maybe their striker position is questionable, where they rely on a 35-year-old Al Rabi. Um, but I think they have enough players to hurt Brazil's poor defense, especially their fullback positions, since their main right back Wesley, who I don't think is a bad player, but he's better attacking wise than defensively. Um, he's injured though, but even if he was playing, he, he he's not that good defensively. He's better attacking wise, so I wouldn't have been surprised if Morocco still exposed Brazil with or without him. So this is why I'm going for a 3-2 Morocco win. And I predicted Morocco finishing first in this group against Brazil. But think Brazil's gonna get second though. So yeah, Haiti versus Scotland. I just slightly predicted a 1-0 win for Scotland because of the fact that Scotland just lacks the quality, in my opinion, for their attack, and they rely on this guy named Shakelin for their as their main striker. And I think Haiti will give a good game, account for themselves. They play with, I think aggressive football in a way, and they have interesting players where maybe they could hurt Scotland as well if they're like with Wilson Isidore. But I just don't think. I just think Scotland is going to just edge it in this game, and yeah. Uh, the eighth game is Australia versus Turkey. I think Turkey's quality will be shown in this game, but I don't really trust them defensively, so I'm going for a 3-1 victory for Turkey. They're going to concede a goal, but I think they just have too much quality against for a team like Australia to contain. And yeah. Um, Germany versus Curacao. Um, I believe this will be a big win for Germany, like a 4-0, 5-0 win. Maybe I'll play it safe, conservative, with a 4-0 win for Germany. And yeah. An interesting game between Netherlands and Japan. Um, the 10th game so far in this prediction video. Uh, I believe this will be a win for Japan, but I'm not really too sure about this game because I don't think Japan's perfect. Um, there's some questions regarding Japan with their manager Moriyasu, and they're missing their key player Mitoma. But I do think they have other interesting players like Kubo from Real Sociedad, um, um, uh, a Frankfurt player who's really good. I forgot his name, but he's a really good Japanese player, attacker. Tanaka, who plays for Leeds United, he's a good midfielder. He had a really good season for Leeds. So Japan still is a quality side, and I just don't trust the Netherlands in this opening game. I feel like they might, you know, they have pressure, start off this tournament well since they're the Netherlands. Um, and yeah, but I just don't trust Koeman or the Netherlands. So yeah, but I don't think they will like get grouped or anything. I think in my predictions, I predicted them to get second place, and yeah. 11th game is Ivory Coast Ecuador. I think this is a very interesting matchup. I think it's going to be a very interesting game to watch. Even though there's not going to be goals in my prediction, I think it's going to be ended 0-0 because I think Ivory Coast will struggle to break down Ecuador's really amazing defense with, Pacho, Hignapie, Ordonez. They have really decent right backs as well. But I don't I don't think Ivory Coast will break them apart, but I don't think Ecuador will get a goal because I'm worried about their attack. And yeah. Uh Sweden, Tunisia, I think it's gonna be a 3-0 win for Sweden because even though I don't think they're defensively perfect, I think they could, not concede a goal against a team like Tunisia. And yeah. Uh, and Tunisia's not really good defensively. They're like horrible. So yeah. Spain versus Cape Verde. I'm just gonna put in a result. I think uh I'm just gonna play conservative. I'm gonna say a 4-0 win for Spain. Yeah. Um Belgium versus Egypt. I think it's gonna end 3-1 for Belgium. Because even though Egypt has like Salah Marmoush and they could effectively get the best out of them against a poor defense like a Belgium, like a poor defensive side like Belgium. Um, I just think I feel like they're just gonna be too conservative, and Belgium has too much quality with Jeremy Doku, Charles the Ketelaere, and etc. So I think they just have too much quality. Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, I think this is like one of the worst games. Not the worst because there's some one-sided games. But I think it's gonna be an ugly game, So I think it's just gonna be a 1-0 win Uruguay. I think they're just gonna scrap a 1-0 win for Europe, against Saudi Arabia, and that's it. Iran versus New Zealand. Um, this one I'm like kind of 50-50 on, where either Iran might just destroy New Zealand since New Zealand isn't good outside of Oceania, or you know, regarding the whole situation, maybe Iran will be able to put up a good performance. Um, but I'm just gonna go with the first choice, the first option that I said, which was my original prediction before doing this video, is like a 4-1, a 3-1 win, since Iran in their friendlies, actually they been scoring tons of goals, actually, like winning 5-0 in one of their friendlies leading up to this tournament. So I guess I'm just gonna go based off of that. And yeah, and New Zealand again, they're poor outside of their outside of Oceania. And yeah, France Senegal, I think this is going to be a very interesting game. France could get defensively caught. They're not perfect defensively. That's what we've seen against Ivory Coast, where Ivory Coast won 2-1 against them. And Konate had a really horrible game, horrible mistake. I think he slipped, if I'm remembering correctly. He had a really poor season, so I'm not really surprised with Konate doing a mistake like that. So that's why I don't think France will keep a clean sheet against Senegal, but I do think they have enough to win 2-1 against Senegal. Because I think Senegal, I don't think they will contain France's quality. Because their attack is amazing. I just don't think that Senegal will be able to contain their attack, France's attack. And I feel like France will just turn up because this is the World Cup, obviously, even though they just recently lost to another African team. I think they will turn up because it's the World Cup and win 2-1, get a 2-1 win against Senegal. Iraq, Norway. I'm going to keep it quick with this one. 4-1 win for Norway. Norway has too much in attack with Holland, Odegaard, Oscar Bob, Antonio Nusa. So much really good attacking wise. But I don't think they will keep a clean sheet though, Norway, because defensively I have questions about them. Argentina, Algeria. I believe this is going to be similar to the France Senegal game, where Argentina just going to have too much quality for Algeria. But I like the Algeria team, and who knows, maybe Algeria could get the win in the opening game of the World Cup, since Argentina lost against Saudi Arabia in the 2022 World Cup. But I believe that Argentina will just have enough quality against Algeria. Algeria might get a goal from like a Aguirre, a Haj Musa, Amura, or something like that, because they're good players. But I think Argentina will, win 2-1. Austria, Jordan. It's going to be 4-1 for Austria. And yeah, Portugal against DR Congo. I think it's going to be 2-0 win for Portugal. I don't think DR Congo will get destroyed, but I do think, because I think they're strong defensively, but Portugal has too much quality. England versus Croatia. I'm going to say a 1-0 win for Croatia. If they're really good defensively on against England, I think they could contain England. And yeah. Ghana versus Panama. It might be a draw, but I'm edging Panama. I like what Panama's doing under Thomas Christensen. I think they will have a lot of possession. I think they are able to break down Ghana and get the goal, a couple goals in, but they will concede, in my opinion, because Ghana does have like a player like Semanu to get a goal and stuff like that. And then finally, Uzbekistan 1 and Colombia 3. And yeah, and I'm going to save this, or I have to create an account. But yeah, those are all my predictions. And yeah, for match day 1. Goodbye.